think we're live, fellas.
Jesus Christ.
I think we are live. We might be live. If we are, hello. If we're not,
Yes, we are.
we are live.
One watching now. Yeah.
One watching now, fellas. We're live. How good's this?
Here we go.
Boys! Hello. Alright, we're live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Stat Chat Sports live edition. Fellas.
This is exciting.
It's
My
good.
goodness me.
It feels good. It
There's
feels
been-
right, doesn't it?
It does. It feels right.
Yeah, except we're missing a member.
We are. We are.
Yes.
If this is your first time watching us, welcome. My name's Josh. Steve to my left, Tazza to my right. BT, fourth member, not with us. In the twos in grand final week. He's had a tough week.
Yeah, look, it's not a good week to be missing, is it? But look, the show carries on. We must move on. It's a shame, but look, we've got a show to do. Let's do it.
He is definitely in the twos. He is watching as well, live with all of you in the comments as well. So if you are watching this, say g'day, let us know you're here. We plan on this being a really interactive show, plenty of chances for questions and answers. We've got some big segments planned, Steve. We've got some special guests. We have a big special guest as well coming up.
Oh, it's a good one. Don't miss this one because it is very good. Very good.
Celebrity special guest.
Yeah. I wasn't aware of this until a little bit while ago, but yeah, it's exciting.
Yep.
And if I may,
Yes.
BT's in the chat.
BT's in the chat. G'day, BT.
Joined us. BT, g'day.
BT.
Mason as well. Mason, he's also joined the fellas. So,
Hi, Mason.
welcome, mate. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for jumping in. We said we'd kick off at 5, so we've got 30 seconds before we kick off. So if you are in the chat, we are going to have a Q&A section later on in the stream. So if you've got any questions, gear them up now. We'll remind you as we're getting to the segment as well. But of course, if you've got anything that you want to ask us or BT for that matter as well, who is watching along at home, make sure you do that. Aside from that, look, I think we're ready to go. This is unprecedented stuff for us. What have we been doing? 6 months? 6 months now, I think.
I think we're about 6 months. Yeah.
Maybe a little bit over.
Yeah.
Oh, around there, yeah.
And realistically, this is the first time that we've actually recorded a video together. So
It's been a long time coming, and it's been hard to get everyone minus BT in the same room. But look, it is good. It feels good.
sacrifices have had to be made, but that's okay. We're going to kick on, and we're going to start off in the way that we usually do. G'day, guys. Welcome to Stat Chat Sports. Josh here, Tazza here, Steve here, BT not here. That's okay. Thanks to everybody for tuning into our first ever live stream. We've just watched the grand final, fellas. Grand final, been and done, Saturday afternoon. A lot of hype, but Steve failed to deliver in a big way.
Yeah. I hate grand finals like this. You want grand finals to be close and interesting, really. And come even like second quarter, you got a little bit bored.
It was done.
Perfectly honest, it was pretty average from Sydney and obviously dominant by the Cats. So fair play to Geelong, but yeah, it didn't make for the best of viewing. It reminded me a bit of Richmond and GWS a few years ago.
Yeah.
Sort of tuned out a little bit.
And I think that'd be the last thing that the AFL wanted as a return back to the MCG was another shitting of the bed from a New South Wales team. It was not good, Tazza. And I mean, your thoughts? We all tipped Geelong on the channel, didn't we?
I think we did. Yeah, it was a clean sweep for us,
Yeah.
and I mean, yeah, it was a clean sweep on the day too. I mean, they dominated in every single facet. It was a real fizzer from Sydney, who both were going in on really good winning streaks. So really didn't see that coming. I don't think a lot of people thought Geelong would get it done, but I think Sydney losing by 80 points, no one quite picked it. So
No.
bit of a fizzer.
And it was, as you said, both teams in really good form. I think it was a record for unbeaten streaks heading into the grand final. Geelong on 15, Sydney on 9, I feel like. So that is...
Yes.
Yeah, you got it right.
That's unprecedented stuff. So yeah, no one really picking this. As you said, realistically, all over by quarter time.
Yeah.
I think big takeaways from my point of view, Cats dominated in the middle. Paddy Dangerfield, we flagged this last week. He was going to come out, you said it yourself, he was going to come out hungry, hadn't won one before.
Yeah.
I questioned how someone could come out and be more hungry than another team in a grand final. But Steve, this was a man on a mission. He was arguably the best on the ground.
Arguably, I suppose, yeah. I think at the end, we'll get to it maybe a bit later, but I think in the end it was the right decision going for the Norm Smith. But yeah, like he wanted that premiership. If anything else extra came with it, Norm Smith, he would have taken it. But yeah, he was there for the granny. He showed up, better than probably you can't really argue that a single Sydney player was probably better than him on the day. So
No.
yeah, no, he was excellent. So and about time he got one as well. So I'm sure he's happy. So good on him.
And loved this stat as well. Stat chat, obviously. We do have to have a couple of stats and a couple of quirky stats. 6 goal assists for Dangerfield without a goal.
Didn't see this one. Yep.
Most ever. Actually tied for the most ever with which other player? Patrick Dangerfield himself.
That's
a very good stat. Nice work from Paddy Dangerfield. I thought he was stiff. I thought he was very stiff because even though let's touch on this man, Isaac Smith, he had a sensational game. Yeah. I felt like Paddy Dangerfield set it up in the middle of the ground. But let's talk about Isaac Smith. Epic performance, his 4th flag.
Anytime you're hitting 3 goals and 30 possessions in a grandie, you've just about nailed on for the Norm Smith.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there was so many other guys that you could have in the running. Tyson Stengel kicking the 4. Yeah. Obviously, Dangerfield, as we've talked about. But, yeah, I mean, Isaac Smith, he was everywhere. He didn't do the grunt work that Danger did. And that's what counts against him. But it's the goals kicked that Danger didn't at the same time. Yeah. So...
And game high possessions as well.
Yeah. And he did it early.
Yeah.
Yes. I think he kicked the two in the first quarter from memory. And you love a running goal as well. That's a real momentum setter for a team. So I don't have an issue with it. No. I just thought Paddy, had a really good game.
You can make a case for him, but at the end of the day, when they look at who gets the Norm Smith, they look at possessions and goals and stuff like that. Yeah. If Danger maybe kicked 1 or 2, he probably would have been in for a better chance. But given that the fact that Isaac Smith had the goals and more disposals, I'd say that's why I went for him anyway.
So maybe Sam DeConning stealing that goal on the goal line has cost Paddy Dangerfield and Norm Smith.
Well, apparently Danger reckons he kicked that to him. He reckons he kicked that to him. I don't know if I believe that. But apparently that's what Sam said. So
we've just seen how selfless Dangerfield really is. So maybe he did mean it.
I think maybe he just wanted the stat. Yeah. Maybe he just wanted the 6 goal assists. I think that's
maybe.
But no, he was very good. I want to touch on the Tomahawk as well. I feel like first 10 minutes, first 10 minutes of the grand final is tight. And you're looking for something to break the game open. And Tomahawk has been doing this all year in the ruck, in the forward line. Out-muscles the man that I thought was a smoky for the Norm Smith, Tom Hickey, who had an absolute fizzer. That was a spud call.
Not good.
Big time spud call. But 2 goals from the ruck in the forward line from your non-designated ruckman.
That's what he does, though, isn't it?
I know that's what he does, but in the grand final, I just felt like that really shifted things in a big way for the Cats.
Yeah, I suppose if your number 1 ruckman in Hickey is getting out-muscled by, Tomahawk who's not a designated. He rucks when it's in the forward 50. Yeah, he's getting out-muscled twice and snapping a goal. You got to ask questions. Yeah, and Hickey was pretty average.
Yeah, no, he was. He shit the bed. But that's all right. We do love Hickey. We do love that man. I just wanted to touch on Tomahawk because I thought, he set it up early. And in games like this, when you're going, who was influential, you want to look at the first quarter. You want to look at the first half. And I think that's where the damage was done, Tazza.
When the game is there for the taking, it's those guys who stood up. I mean, you can look at the guys who scored. I mean, I think Stengel kicked 1 or 2 early. But Hawkins, he was a man on a mission early on, really straight out of the gate. So that's what you're looking for, and he set the tone.
And I think if you had a kick straight as well, you had a couple of misses there from set shots, could have swayed things. Let's talk about the Swans though. I want to talk about a highlight before we get to the lowlights because there was a lot of lowlights for the Swans. A lot of poor performance on the day. But I want to talk about Warner. I want to talk about Chad Warner because
he's going to be a star.
Yeah, and I was a little sceptical as to whether he could do this. We actually caught up the night before the grand final and we were talking about Warner and whether he was going to be going all right because he may have formed part of a multi that we had. We don't gamble. that we may have had a multi on the grand
If you
final.
do gamble responsibly.
Gamble responsibly.
You were one of the skeptics, weren't you?
I was.
You were a major
I was a
skeptic.
big skeptic of Warner. He has not shown up in finals so far. I think he's played 3 finals. Only once had he gone over 20 posies.
Mm.
The multi that we had may or may not have had Chad Warner over 20 posies. He absolutely crushed that, obviously. But he looked like the only real threatening swan, Steve,
Oh yeah.
in terms of just breaking the game open, moving through the midfield, because they looked so stagnant, didn't they?
Yeah. He was the light in what was a dark performance for Sydney. He was their best player. He kicked a couple, 2 or something.
He kicked 2.
I think he kicked 2.
Yeah, 2 and 29 possessions. I'm going to hazardous guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So is this his first year? I don't actually know too much about him.
Third
Third.
year.
Third year. But he's
Third
still
year.
relatively young. Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. So obviously relatively young first grand final to do what he did against the Geelong team.
Yeah.
You know, who's
Full of experience.
full of experience, and you know that's pretty good.
And I know
he's going to
the-
get a lot of experience out of that.
Oh, for sure. And I know the game opens up, you know, when you're at that margin, but he was looking good when it was tight. He was looking good when they were trying to claw their way back from 4 or 5 goals down. So I thought that was a really good performance. Champion data, you know this already. You go with it.
Yeah. Look, Champion Data had 2 swans, I think, in the top 10 of the players on the ground.
But you can't do that.
Chad Warner, number 1.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
look,
Unreal.
at the time, I thought he might have been sneaky for maybe 1 Norm Smith vote here or there.
Mm.
Look, obviously there were that many guys that played for Geelong that were that good. Stengel, Hawkins, Smith, to name 3 straight off the top of my head. But Warner was one of the best on ground in a losing team. Obviously they got thrashed. It's hard to give him, but I think he was stiff not to maybe jag 1 or 2 votes.
Would you have had him in the top 3?
Look, it's hard, but
I
I thought he would have jagged 1 from someone.
I don't think you can. I don't think you can.
BT not all impressed, fellas. He said he should have been the first half when the pressure was on.
Really?
Couldn't handle it.
Really? Well, I mean, the whole Swans team did, but I thought that Warner was the only one that was actually getting the ball, you know, past the wing, getting the ball forward. Because
It was
that
the run
was,
and drive
yeah,
that he provided that no one else was. I mean, we saw Parker, I think he had 14 or 15 tackles for the game, but that just means you're second to the ball.
yeah.
So Warner was the one getting it and giving them something out of the middle. So something that they just couldn't get from anyone else.
Yeah.
Also, while I'm here in the comments,
Lens.
Lens is in the chat.
Lens.
Lens,
Lens.
our
Mate,
boy.
how are you? Thanks for tuning in. Lens has been a long time viewer of this channel, and we appreciate the support. Thanks for dropping in. Okay, we'll talk about the Swans. Got beaten in the middle badly. We've spoken about Hickey. He was poor. Down 41 contested possessions across the board for the day. That is an absolute shellacking. But the area that I just struggle with is that they couldn't break down the Geelong defence. They did the Ryan Clark tag. BT called this during the week. He said Ryan Clark going straight to Tom Stewart, and he did. And he did shut down Tom Stewart. But Geelong still able to very effectively set up behind the ball, and Sydney just kept playing into their hands. It baffled me a bit.
Well, that's what I mean. Even taking Tom Stewart out of the equation, Geelong are a system team. They don't have the out and out stars in that team. They're a structure. So systems and structures that they rely on, and they just got the job done. I mean, they rotated guys through. DeConning became that real loose man behind the ball.
Yeah,
and obviously he had a really good game in what is the infancy of his career. So huge for him, and he really sort of showed that. Obviously, Tom Stewart's he's not old, but when he does move on, they've got someone that's going to jump right in his position and just take straight over.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're going to touch on this a little bit later on, but it kind of feels a little bit like a changing of the guard. Like this is Geelong peaking, but at the same time, I'm never writing off Geelong again. I can't say that this is Geelong done. The era's over, because they've shown that they just keep pushing again and pushing again. And like you said, there's guys like DeConning, pickups like Stengel, young guys that are coming up through the midfield, Tom Atkins. So they're the next generation, and they're getting better, and they've got a flag under their belt, and they know how to get it done now. So you can't really write them off.
Look at a Geelong team like. I saw something on Facebook. I screenshot it for this to bring it up.
You've done some prep.
I've done some prep.
I love this, Steve.
It's not my first time done prep, mate.
It's not my first rodeo.
It's not my first rodeo. Since their last premiership in 2011, they made it to the elimination final, the prelim, the semi, then they missed out in 2015. This is all consecutively, by the way. Elimination final, elimination prelim, granny, prelim, and then premiers this year.
Yeah.
Been in like every final Seek 1 since their last premiership. So you could argue they've been the best team of the last decade.
You could argue
without a doubt.
you would be well
most consistent.
Yeah,
Hawthorn did have a three-peat.
Hawthorn,
But
yes.
well, yeah. But like, to miss out on all those, finals and not
back it
making
up,
grannies to back it up to finally do it. I can understand why guys like Selwood and Hawkins were so emotional they finally won another one. You know what I mean? After all the heartache of missing out on those finals.
It's a lot of stress and heartache thinking we ever get back there. And I mean, they have gotten to the finals, but they've failed at every hurdle up until the grand final for so long. Apart from 2020 in the COVID year, but I mean, the emotion they were all just the relief.
Yeah,
it was pretty obvious.
Yeah, it was a very epic performance from Geelong. Can't say enough about them. They were clearly the best team of the day. Clearly the best team all year. I mean, 15 in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a no-brainer. Last thing I want to touch on is Sydney. Forward line clearly didn't get much opportunities. Two big names. Buddy.
Superstar.
Nowhere near it. I know the ball didn't get down there, Tazza. But you want a bit more out of the big man than 5 posies.
So Buddy's game for so long has been getting up and down the ground, and it's his extra work that he does up the ground. But what is he now? 34, 35?
Oh, I don't know, but
so he doesn't have that in him anymore, and that was his one wood. That's what he would do every game to get himself in the game. But when he doesn't have that, he can't get himself into the game and he can't inject himself in. So if the midfield's not winning the battle, he's stranded. Yeah, and that's what we saw.
Yeah, no, he was helpless, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Sports Nut as well. Just joined the chat.
Sports Nut.
Ahoy.
Regular. We love that Sports Nut. Thanks for tuning in, mate. Glad to have you here. Sam Reid, though. The big selection gamble. I couldn't believe they named him, to be honest.
Yeah, you compare the two, the bloke from Geelong that they've left out.
Holmes. Yep.
And they were talking to Clarko. Not Clarko. I always get them mixed up because they look similar to me.
Who?
The Geelong...
Scott.
Yeah, that's the one.
They look similar.
For me, anyway.
Jeez,
Anyway,
mate.
we're going off topic. Let's get back on course,
Alrighty, come on.
And he was saying he reckons he's 95% fit, but they still didn't play him.
Yeah.
Whereas, who knows how far off the mark
He
was.
did a groin. I mean, a groin's not a back the next week type injury.
Yeah.
Whether it's a strain or a niggle or whatever it was,
But he had a shot at it.
Yeah, 4 posies. Yeah, in a half, and
None of them
impact.
kicks.
Yeah,
All handballs. And so it was clearly obvious that he was struggling with something because he just couldn't get anything out from just,
Yeah, and I know that he's crucial to the way that Sydney play, or certainly has been playing for the last month or so, the way that he impacts the contest up forward, getting up the ground, and I thought he was going to be really important if he played to nullifying Geelong's structure. So I understand why they took the gamble, given how important he is compared to Geelong and Holmes and how he's more of a role player. But yeah, not the right call, obviously. And hindsight's easy to look at.
Yeah, it is. It is. But I mean, you look at like I said, the decision that Chris Scott made to leave him out would have been hard.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He's played. Well, I assume he's played like the whole season.
Majority of the games, yeah.
And like 95%. It's a grand final. You would think if I was the player, I'd be like, surely you just play me. But then you got to look at the big picture, and it paid off for him.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, in hindsight, it's easy. If he did play, how much would he have impacted the game?
Does it change the
Does
result?
it change the result?
Yeah.
I mean, given the fact that they won by as much as they did, I'd suggest not. But
No.
yeah, you never know.
No. And this comes back to the debate, the regular debate when we get to this time of the year. AFL only gives you a medal if you're on the ground on the day.
That's bullshit.
Other sports, and you are a man that is all over the EPL and NFL, we're big fans of the NFL, the whole roster, even if you were just on the team for a couple of weeks, right? You're still part of it. You're still there. You still get the recognition, still get the medal. Is it time?
I think so.
Is it time?
I think so. I mean, look at some of the names that have missed out. Like I'll go to the Eagles because of that's who we support. But Nick Nat, Gaff, in
Shepherd.
2018.
Yep.
Yeah, Shepherd,
Yep.
who played huge parts in that 2018 team, one suspended and 2 injuries, and they miss out.
Yep.
I can imagine. It's unfair.
Yeah.
Really, is what
It's
it is.
devastating.
And then even worse in Max Holmes' case because he missed out the game before.
Yeah.
So
Play the whole year,
Yeah.
then miss out.
Happened to Jack Graham, I think it was 2019
Yeah.
in the prelim, and he battled that game through injury,
Bob Murphy, for the
knowing he
Dogs.
was going to miss, essentially. Yep.
Preston Giacomo from 2010. I think he played in the draw and then pulled out of the replay, I think, from memory. So, I think the AFL preaches a squad mentality these days, and for that to be the case, whole squad needs to be rewarded. I think. I think it's a no-brainer. I think the next CEO might bring it in.
Yeah.
Could be interesting, but they've got other fish to fry at the moment, and we'll touch on that a little bit later. Back to the Cats. We spoke a little bit about the era, and I just want to run through some of the names that, this list that's been called Too Old, Too Slow by us as well. We're not immune to this. We picked them to finish 8th this year.
We did.
We didn't see this coming, so we're happy to cop it. A lot of older players on this list. And I just want to run through the list and just get a sense from the guys here. Are they going on or are they going to retire? Because there's a few older names. Okay, let's go through it here. Sean Higgins has already retired.
Yes.
Announced that. Didn't play many games this year. 5 games for the year. I think it was a pretty easy decision with that one there. Whether he was pushed, whether he went on his own accord, doesn't really matter. He's done. Joel Selwood.
I think based on what we saw on Saturday, based like his reaction,
The emotion?
Like his family and stuff like that as well.
Yes.
I feel like that emotion is based off not more than just winning a grand final.
Yeah.
Like I think he knew well before the game.
That's not
that
relief.
his time-
That's knowing that,
he's done.
Yeah.
I think he's done.
That's
I
celebration.
wouldn't be surprised. And to be fair, it's probably the best way to go off. I think he's what more has he got to accomplish now?
Yeah.
He's
4 flags.
4 flags.
Now a premiership captain.
Now premiership captain. He's played the most grand finals, most finals of any player.
Yeah.
Right.
he's got the most games as a captain.
40.
Yeah, most games as captain. Like he's got the accolades there. I mean, what more has he got to offer?
Exactly. So that's going to be one we're going to wait and watch. Our celebrity special guest later on the show may have some thoughts on the matter as well, so make sure you stick around for that one. Tom Hawkins. He's 33 at the start of the year, so 34 now. 300 plus games, 700 plus goals. He's a Coleman medalist, 3 flags now, 5-time All-Australian. Does he need to do anything more, Tazza?
No, he doesn't, but he'll keep going. I mean, he's still at the top of his game. He kicked 50-something goals this year?
All-Australian this year.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, anytime, I think it was the All-Australian full forward.
And captain.
Captain, yeah.
There you go. So, there's no reason for him
Very
to...
debatable.
Yeah, big debate on that. But, I mean, he'll keep going.
Yeah.
I think he will as well.
I think the form line has been good. So I think Tomahawk goes around again. Isaac Smith, I think for me, I think he's done. I think second club, 4th flag, Norm Smith medal, so best on ground in your last game. I think the story is there. I don't think he has anything else to do. Steve.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Like, how old is he now?
34 now, just reading this. 34 in December.
Yeah. I think so. Like, what more, again, same as Selwyn, what more does he need to accomplish?
And I think he's openly questioned how much he's got left in the tank.
Yeah.
So I think when you're in that mindset, you've achieved what you've achieved, probably unexpectedly in terms of the Norm Smith.
Yeah.
I think it's what better time to bow out than there.
Counter argument, did play more than 20 games this season, so he's putting the runs on the board. Could go again. I think he's probably done. Zach Toohey, 250 games. He's won the elusive flag. He is turning 33 in December.
Jeez.
So I think there's a potential retirement there on Zach Toohey, fellas.
I didn't realise he was that old, to be honest. I could see him continuing, maybe.
I think he'll go. He'll go again. Sorry.
You reckon he's going
he'll
again?
go again. Yeah, I think he's got plenty left.
I think he's done.
Yeah, okay.
I think he's, that's a hell of a career for an Irishman, and we will touch on this later on in the show. But I think he might be done. And if you are watching this, if you're watching this live in the chat, let us know. We want to hear your thoughts. If you agree, if you disagree,
I've got some here for the boys.
you've got some.
I've got some. Where are we? Lenza. thinks Selwood will play one more game, one more year.
One more year.
He reckons another year out of Joel, Big Joel.
Yeah, nice. Very good, Lens.
Yeah.
Sportsnut says no. He reckons he'll retire.
Yes.
Hawkins is going on as well. He's carrying on.
Yeah, I think
from,
that's
from Sportsnut. But Lenza says Hawkins retires because he doesn't like him.
I'm not
a strong
exactly.
word, but he did use the word hate.
Yeah,
it's a bit rough.
I'm not exactly.
Sportsnut says Isaac Smith should retire as well. 4 flags, 1 non-Smith, but he reckons he'll stay on. But he thinks he should go.
Okay, that's some good stuff there. I like that from the comments. Yep. Probably not worth touching on too many others. Jonathan Seggs is probably one that I think will retire. He came on a short-term deal. Yeah. And maybe Menegola couldn't get back in the team there for the grand final.
How old is he?
Menegola is, bear with me, he is 31.
Yeah.
So, no, sorry, 30.
Okay.
He's 30. Yeah. So that's a line ball call, I think, there. And he only played 7 games this year. So that might be another one. So could be a spate of retirees at the Cats. If you're watching this now or if you're watching this later on, let us know in the comments what you think is going to happen, because it shapes as a bit of an interesting off-season for the Cats. Stick around. Special guest coming on very shortly. Special celebrity guest. So make sure you hang on for that one. Do want to touch very quickly on the biggest news from the past week that's not grand final related. And that is Hawthorn. And really, we can't go too much into this because, Tanner, we simply don't know all the facts.
Yeah, there's been allegations thrown out and a little bit said, but I think there's a lot to play out this situation. Yeah. Obviously, names have been dropped in terms of who's involved and the big names involved, and it could change the AFL landscape.
Hugely.
Big time.
Clarkson, Fagan, Andrew Newbold with the AFL Commission as well, associated with Hawthorn during that era. And you look at the Clarkson coaching tree. I mean, there'd be at least 5 or 6 clubs that have a former Hawthorn assistant coach now coaching the club.
Yeah.
So potentially massive repercussions, as you said. But yeah, probably far too early for us to really go in depth on this, because at the moment there's a lot of hearsay, a lot of allegations. May be true, may not be true. We don't know. But certainly, some of the allegations that have come out, we would certainly condemn. That sort of behaviour is not acceptable in any form.
Sportsnut thinks it's fake news. He's a Hawk supporter.
He is a Hawk supporter. Yeah, we do know that. So, look, appreciate your thoughts, Sportsnuts. Unfortunately, we just don't know. Yeah. We just don't know, and there'll be a lot more to play out. And I think our special guest, who is here, by the way, and he's ready to go.
He is.
Down the track, may be able to provide a bit more insight on that. So, you guys hold the fort. I'll just go and get him, and we'll kick on with the show, won't we?
Yeah.
Let's go grab him.
You got this, right? You got this.
We can pad him.
Yeah.
We can pad him. Say hello to a few of the boys. Obviously, Lenza, Sportsnut. Plenty of interaction here. We love that. I'm sure BT's still around. He's not going anywhere. He can't go anywhere.
We miss you, BT. We do miss you.
This is a big enough couch for you, mate.
There's plenty of room. I mean, we would have fit you easy, but
yeah.
Look, we'll do this without you.
Yeah, let's just see. What else have we got here from Thing Lenza? The whole Geelong list will retire at this point, he reckons.
Well, I mean, we it's been so long since we've seen a list like this.
Yeah.
A list so old. I mean, even in the grand final, I'm pretty sure the average age was 28 years and about 180 games.
It was the oldest average, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oldest ever list, or oldest ever playing group put together in one VFL AFL game.
Yeah.
So it just shows we haven't seen anything, a winning team like this. And obviously, when you win these kind of games, you want to bow out at the top.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
you're more likely to see guys that if they're 50-50, you're more likely to see them bow out. So I think we'll see a couple.
I think we'll see a couple. Yeah. I agree.
We've already touched on, but
we'll have to wait and see how much it'll affect it. Sportsnut thinks that they'll decline a little bit, but still a top 6.
We have our guest here.
The guest has arrived.
Alright.
A couple of guesses in the chat. Lenza thinks it's BT. I can rest assured it's definitely
not BT.
but it's a good guess. Let's bring him in.
Ladies and gentlemen, our special guest, Mr. Tom Browne.
Boys, how are we? Great to be here, boys. Steve.
How you going? Pleasure to meet you.
Great to be here on the couch, boys. Usually off to the side in front of the television, boys. So Great to be front and centre on the couch. This time of year is my time of year.
Yeah.
Obviously. Clearly. Trade period. Free agency period.
It's exciting time for you.
Huge time.
This
Massive
is
time.
your bread and butter, mate.
I don't sleep. I don't sleep this time of year. I'm doing interviews. I'm doing podcasts such as this. Very reputable podcasts such as this.
Very honoured to have you on.
Thank you. Thank you,
Now
Tazza.
that he is on board, any questions for him, send them through.
Yeah, no, certainly.
Absolutely.
As you know, I am the best news broker in the business. Don't worry about that vlog demo. I have got the news. I have got all the sources, and I will be prepared to go in depth about any and all the trade news that is going on right now in the world, fellas.
Plenty of that.
Plenty of that. What do you got for me? Any names? What do you got?
First cab off the rank. Dan McStay.
Dan McStay, sources suggesting to me that he is highly fancy to go to Collingwood. Long-term deal, fellas. 5-year deal. Massive deal. $850,000 a year. No other suitors are going here. This is Collingwood through and through. Sources suggesting this will happen on the first day of free agency opening in a week's time.
On the first day.
Absolutely.
And that sounds pretty concrete.
Absolutely,
Yes. Yeah, the sources are good.
Sources are confident.
Yeah, okay.
Sources are highly confident in this one coming through, fellas. What do you think that's going to make up for Collingwood next year and how they're going to structure up?
Well, yeah, I think they lacked, obviously, going forward. That's in key forward, so I think, a big pace. Whether he fires, we didn't see a hell of a lot of him at Brisbane in terms of actual production, but I think he could do a good job at Collingwood.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see him.
Yeah.
Get him around a couple of the other small forwards in Collingwood that were firing for him this year. So yeah.
Big reason this piece going through as well, fellas. Brodie Grundy, the Brodie Grundy trade, much spoken about. Sources suggesting to me that GWS were interested and were heavily featuring. Other sources, though, indicating Brodie Grundy not happy to leave Melbourne. Not happy with the current state of Collingwood, wanting to trade him, unhappy with the trade. That being said, Melbourne, sources suggesting to me, boys, will be the destination of choice. Just remains to be seen how much for. Melbourne also going to be looking for Collingwood to pay a large portion of that $1 million a season plus salary.
What portion are you hearing? Portions?
Sources suggesting to me, fellas, it's going to be $200,000 to $300,000 a year, and still multiple years of that long-term deal remaining from Brodie Grundy.
Wow, it's an interesting dynamic there with Gawn and Grundy. I can't imagine it personally. It's an odd one.
Who's playing second fiddle to who here?
Two All-Australian ruckmen in the same team, fellas. Hasn't happened, I don't think, since the West Coast Eagles back in 2012. Would be just an enormous get for Melbourne in their chance to try and get back to the big dance.
Obviously, if they're going to take on Grundy, Melbourne, they're going to have to lose someone.
Yes.
Next cab off the rank. Luke Jackson.
Yes.
What have you heard?
Luke Jackson. Sources suggesting that this is Fremantle in a one-horse race. You will note that Jackson did announce in his press release last week that he is not fussed whether he goes to either of the West Australian teams. My sources strongly suggesting that he has no interest in going to the West Coast Eagles. West Coast Eagles, yes, can't blame it at all, Steve. West Coast Eagles looking like a rabble. West Coast Eagles only interested in bidding up the price that Fremantle will have to pay to acquire the services of Luke Jackson. 20 years old, out of contract. That being said, shaping up as one of the best young players in the game, Steve. Should be costing Fremantle a pretty penny.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't see him going Eagles. Definitely not. And suggest your sources suggest.
Sources are very reliable in this regard, fellas.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a good pickup for Fremantle, but it's going to come at a cost for sure.
I'd imagine so. Long list of players on the way out of Fremantle, and obviously these are related clearly to the salary cap pinch that the Fremantle will find themselves under. Griffin Logue, sources strongly suggesting that North Melbourne is the front runner there and that the deal will get done when trade week starts next week. Darcy Tucker, also North Melbourne bound. My sources strongly suggesting that one will happen. Minor change of draft pick needed there.
Even with Clarko? Is the Clarko effect?
Look, sources aren't telling me a lot on Clarko.
Okay.
Sources are not strong on what's happening with... Yeah.
AFL
AFL House has really gone into lockdown on this one, boys. Not much I can report on the front of the report. Haven't seen it. Sources have tried. Sources have failed. That being said, I still think that's going to get the job done. The players are going to have faith that Clarko will be there, but hard for me to comment on that at this stage. Other guys on the way out, Blake Acres. I'm hearing that that's going to be a multi-year deal in the order of $400,000 to $500,000 going to Carlton, the preferred team of choice there. The Dockers will make that happen. Plenty of other wingmen in the race there that they will be able to put into the position there. James Aish, obviously, a young player there or an established player that's already there on the wing. They've got the guys that can fill the role. And Lloyd Meek. Sources suggesting half the league interested in Lloyd Meek. Sources suggesting it could be Hawthorn, could be the Eagles, could be Essendon, could be Geelong. Sources suggesting the Giants also interested. Club of choice though. Sources say Hawthorn. Sources say Hawthorn, and sources say that the deal will get done. Minor exchange of draft picks there, but a reasonable deal there for Lloyd Meek. He's shown well in his time at Fremantle, just hasn't got the opportunity, particularly with the impending arrival of Luke Jackson, boys.
You're the man. You know more than we do.
I've got the sources, boys.
That's why we've got you.
And look, really appreciated to be on such a reputable sporting podcast.
Thank you.
And particularly in the main chair. You know, most of the other boys, they want to have me off to the side. They don't want me fraternising with the panel.
Front and centre.
I don't know whether it's the body odour, and a lot of people do complain about that quite often. Big boys being very, very welcoming and much appreciated.
Yeah. Now, before you go, I've got a couple here from a few listeners.
Love that.
They'd love some answers on from you.
Yes, absolutely.
Sportsnut would like to know your thoughts on the Jack Gunston trade.
Jack Gunston trade. Sources heavily suggesting that is North Melbourne bound. North Melbourne bound for Jack Gunston. Obviously mentioned the Clarko factor before. Hard to know what's going to happen there, but hard to see Jack Gunston going anywhere else. Did hear some strong interest from my sources about Brisbane. I'm hearing that Jack Gunston doesn't like it in the sun, so that's probably not going to be a good environment for Jack Gunston there. But North Melbourne shaping as the front runner there for Jack Gunston Services Sportsnut.
Okay. Hope that answers your question, Sportsnut. Lenza wants to know your thoughts on the Tom Mitchell rumour.
The Tom Mitchell rumour. Sources have been talking about Tom Mitchell going everywhere. I've heard Carlton float around. I've heard Geelong float around, but the sources, Lenza, strongly indicating a desire from Tom Mitchell to get to the Pies. Not sure if the deal is going to get done at this point. I think the draft compensation is a sticking point between the two clubs. That being said, expect Collingwood to come hard for Tom Mitchell. Expect them to get some picks from the Brody Grundy trade, and this one could go down to the wire late in the trade period. Lenza, keep an eye on that one.
Okay. And the last one I've got here, Sean Davies is also in the chat. So hello to Sean.
Sean Davies, good to see you, mate.
All he puts is Melksham. Any answers? Anything on that?
Melksham, sources suggesting that a number of teams are interested in Melksham. I've heard that sources are suggesting he could go to any of Adelaide, Brisbane, Carlton, Collingwood, Essendon, Fremantle, Geelong, Gold Coast, GWS, Melbourne, North Melbourne. He could go back to Melbourne. Could also go to Richmond, my sources are suggesting. Okay. And I've also seen rumours that he could go to St Kilda, Sydney, the West Coast Eagles or Western Bulldogs. One club he will not be going to, Port Adelaide. Sources strongly suggesting that Jake Melksham has no interest in going to Port Adelaide, nor that Port Adelaide has no interest in Jake Melksham.
It's mutual.
And that is what the sources are suggesting to me.
That should well and truly answer Sean Davies' question. Everywhere except Port Adelaide. Yeah.
Sources can confirm.
Yeah. And the sources are reliable.
100%. The sources have never let me down, boys.
All right. There's one that I want to touch on that we've as a team have really looked at. Jordan De Goey. What's happening there?
Jordan De Goey. Look, to say that I have tuned into your podcast before would be an understatement. I'm an avid watcher of the Stat Check podcast.
Thank you.
That's good to hear.
And I will say that there is a man on your podcast who is not here today, unfortunately. Josh, I believe his name is.
Yes. Yep.
From memory, that Josh did come out with a call early on in the season suggesting that Jordan De Goey would be gone from Collingwood, St Kilda the team of choice.
Okay.
Not sure where he got his sources from, but sources suggesting to me that this is a 2-horse race. Sources suggesting to me that Collingwood has offered Jordan De Goey a long-term deal, 5 years, with behavioural requirements.
Fair.
Which is a problem for Jordan De Goey because my understanding is from sources, Jordan De Goey was seen at the international airport of Melbourne last week off to Bali.
No, surely not.
Sources indicating to me that Jordan De Goey was Bali bound.
Not a good mix, Jordan De Goey in Bali.
Sources suggesting not a good mix at all. Sources suggesting to me that St Kilda still heavily in the mix for Jordan De Goey on a long-term deal, 5 years, in the order of $800,000. Expect Collingwood to match any deal that St Kilda offers. He is a free agent. They do have the ability to match. It's just a question of where Jordan De Goey wants to go. And all I know from my sources is that Jordan De Goey wants to go to Bali.
Yeah, I can see that being an absolute no-brainer for him. I think that'll 100% happen.
It just seems like a home for Jordan De Goey. He seems comfortable there. He seems in his environment. Sources suggesting to me that deal gets done very easily. The next deal, St Kilda or Collingwood, that'll come down to the last day of the trade period, I would suggest.
Awesome. Thanks, mate. Well, we appreciate the news.
Tazza, Steve,
Pleasure having you on.
absolute pleasure. Have me on whenever you like.
We'd love to have you on whenever you'd like to come
One
back.
of the best podcasts that is out there for AFL content. Love being on the show. Love being front and centre as well. You know, I don't like being off to the side with my own TV screen. This is where I want to be.
Rest assured that when you come back, you'll be front and centre, and we can't wait to see you again.
Love that. Boys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Much appreciated.
All good, mate. All the best.
Yep, thank you. Thank you. Sources.
Jeez, what a scoop.
He knows everything.
Jeez, wowee.
The viewers have been absolutely blessed with that, I think.
And we've been blessed.
We have.
Not just the viewers.
We've been in the presence of them.
We're glad we could bring you such an informed mind in the competition. It's enlightened all of us, and it's been great.
Well, Lenza did have one, but I didn't think we could bring it to him. This is more of an inside stat chat one. Lenza's sources suggest that Tazza, you're on your way to Essendon, mate.
I'm on my way to Essendon.
Apparently so.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Not sure where those sources are coming from.
Yeah. Well, next time we get Tom Browne on the show, we'll ask him because I think he's the man in the know.
Yeah.
Well, I personally haven't heard anything. So yeah,
What I missed, boys? Sorry.
Oh, you're back.
What happened?
Oh,
Hey.
look at that.
Howdy.
Oh,
Just
How's it
had to go to the loo. Sorry.
Yeah.
you just missed him.
What?
Tom Browne.
Tom Browne.
He was in,
The Tom Browne.
mate,
You're shitting me, right?
with
No.
every scoop in the world, mate.
Is he coming back? Like, how'd you go? Was it a good interview?
Oh, mate.
He was great.
was a ripper.
You didn't pass him on the way out?
No, I didn't
Huh?
see it.
Okay. I don't think he'll be back today. He might be back.
He said he definitely wants to come
Yeah.
back.
You got his number, right? Like, we can keep in touch.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. Alright. Well, sorry. I mean,
It's okay. Next time.
due calls.
There's a next time,
Due
mate.
calls.
Yeah.
All right. Well, where were we? We've just done the trade talk. Silly season. I think the only right thing to do now is go to one of our all-time favourite and much beloved segments. Steve, let's hand it over to you. The bold predictions. Now, we've had a big year of predictions.
Yeah.
We have made a lot of calls on this show, regularly making bold calls, ridiculous calls, Steve level calls.
We had to create a Nando's style system for this segment.
It was the only right thing to do.
It was getting a little bit out of control.
Getting,
Well,
it is out of control.
yeah.
It is out of control. So what I've done, because we like to be held to account for the calls that we make on this show. We're not just some, nuffy Facebook page that comes up with scoops and throws it out there and just hopes for the best. We like to really be on point.
We do.
Get our facts correct. So it's time for us to really hold ourselves to account. We want to go through some of our poorer calls. but also highlight some of our best
Mm.
because you've got to have the good with the bad.
You do.
I want to start with the man that's not here today, BT, because it's always good to sink the boot into someone that's not here, and I know he's in the comments,
He is.
so he might have some comments on this. But
Yeah.
Steve, you want to run through probably some of BT's best calls.
He's had a couple, to be fair to him. Does his research, no doubt about it. So I'm not surprised that he got close to a couple. One of them he actually got bang on, to be perfectly honest.
Yes.
But let's have a look at a couple of his bests. This is a prediction from the 13th of March this year, early days.
The pre-season video.
Pre-seasons, yeah. BT said that Sydney would make the grand final. Now, the second part of that,
It was a bad call.
it was a bad call.
It was a sinker of a call.
Yeah. Battle of the Bridges, GWS nowhere near it, but he got it half right.
GWS for the flag, BT.
Yeah.
Jeez.
No.
Bad call.
Terrible call. Terrible call. But
Give me a second.
But to make the Sydney side, that's a good one. That's a good one.
It is.
But the one he got absolute bang on is in round 15, in our round 15 video, he called that Geelong would not lose a game for the rest of the season.
Huge call.
And they went on to be undefeated the rest of the season.
That's an unbelievable call from BT. Got to give him props for that.
Absolutely. I mean, he's the only one, I think, of the four of us that actually go on right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a slow burner, but that's fine. It's all good. I had plenty of slow burners and they all failed.
He did have another slow burner, and that was Jack Steele to not be the captain of the Saints in 2023. You remember way back at the start of the year, and BT just really started on this anti-St Kilda crusade. Just absolutely hated the guys. This was after we had that dust up with Saints TV, where they came on and they called us out, and then we ended up being right because St Kilda really are mediocre. I think it was around about then. So we still don't really know on that, but it's hard to see Jack Steele not being the captain of St Kilda next year because who else have they got?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
There isn't really a high level of, a big amount of top level talent rolling around there. And he is a courageous player.
Yeah.
We've seen that from him. And that's who you want as captain. So I'm not sure you shift him out just yet.
Yeah. So still waiting on that one, but overall BT, a couple of good calls in there. Got to be happy with that.
Yeah. I'd be happy with that.
But a fair few stinkers as well. And some big stinkers.
Yeah.
But he's not alone. He's not Robinson Crusoe.
No. Do you want to hear mine?
Yeah, go, mate.
I had some terrible
Yeah.
But to be fair, most of mine were, if we go back from when we started the whole Nando's scale,
Yes.
I reckon a vast majority of mine would have been Steve level.
Yeah, but that's just you just throwing shit out in the wind.
But is this not bold predictions? This is not a prediction that might be bold, but also is a good chance of happening. That's not a bold prediction. Anyway, we can argue about this for days.
All right. Own up to some of your worst. What do you got?
Oh, it's a couple of my worst. I had West Coast to go winless. Called that back in our round 4 preview. They beat, obviously, Collingwood.
The following week.
That weekend.
Wasn't that bad of a call.
Not far off of it. Only 2 wins.
Yeah.
So
it was
not
pretty
far
average.
off of it, but yeah, to basically rule out that one that week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't great.
No.
And probably my worst one. I had really early days, round 5, Josh Rochelle to be in the All Australians.
Yes.
That's nasty.
That stemmed a lot from the early form.
He had a good month.
He had a good start.
He had a very
But
good month.
apart from that, he was pretty much nowhere near it.
Did he poll a vote for the Rising Star? I don't know.
I don't think so. No.
What was it? It was Dacos to Conning.
Nick Martin, is he up there?
Yeah, he
Yep.
was. Did Horn Francis get votes?
I'm not sure.
Let us know. Let us know in
Yeah.
the chat. We'd be keen to know that.
Yeah. And a
Newcombe?
couple of my best, I suppose.
Yeah,
Let's
Nuke.
Let's put best in air quotes because they were still a fair way off.
Memorable.
Memorable. The prediction that I suppose started off this whole segment, I'd say,
Yes.
was my call at the start of the season for Melbourne to go undefeated.
An unbelievable call.
Yeah, I got laughed at. All 3 of you laughed at me.
And this got picked up by the media.
Oh, 100%.
Our former guest, Tom Browne, he was running with his story as this is going to happen. undefeated run from Melbourne.
Yeah.
You were looking the goods.
I think they were 10-0 before they lost.
Yeah.
10.
Yeah, they were 10-0.
Yeah. So it was looking good. It was definitely looking good.
Yeah.
Everyone was jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah. You called it first.
I called it first. You'll be hard picked to find another person in Australia. Maybe not necessarily Australia. Worldwide. People watch it worldwide.
Yeah. Shout out Justin Timberlake's brother.
Mm.
Probably not watching this live because I reckon
It'll be a bit hard.
Yeah, I reckon it's about
And if he is, massive respect.
props to it. He's our American friend. So shout out to JT. I'm sure he's watching this back after the fact.
But yeah, you'd struggle. You'd be hard put to find another person in the world that would have made that call at the start of the season.
You did.
I did, and I was very, very confident after those first 10 rounds, and then it all went down from here. Let's move on real quick. This was in round 8 as well. I had Brisbane v West Coast. Brisbane to win by 100. They won by 75, and the Eagles to score under 30, which they did. So I think they kicked 30 exactly, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, it's not a bad call.
It's not a bad call.
It's not correct.
Relatively, no.
And the Eagles were shit.
They were terrible.
Yeah.
So close, but not quite.
As far as bold predictions go, we'd probably take that.
Yeah, I'll take that. Considering some of the others that I had. Well, I think, I mean, there was definitely some others that could have been the worst in there, but you know, we'll stick with just that. But what do we got? Let's let Josh.
Yeah, mate.
Oh dear.
I had some stinkers.
You had some stinkers.
I had a lot of stinkers.
Yeah.
I had to publicly apologise
You did.
for one of my calls.
Very public.
Well, for multiple calls actually, because I sat on this show multiple times and said that I didn't believe in Collingwood, and that Collingwood was no good, and that Collingwood could not win a top 4 match, and they just kept getting it done. I mean, what was the win streak? Was it 13?
I think it was 13. Yeah.
And it was like 11 of them by like less than a kick. I mean, it's unprecedented stuff from the Pies. So my distrust and non-belief in Collingwood, certainly my worst call for the year. And I came out and I held a press conference and I publicly apologised for that. And
Very good of you.
well, I think it had
Yeah,
to
it was
be
very
done.
big of you to do that. To be able to come out and address the fact that you got it wrong.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
That's what I do. If I get stuff wrong, I'm happy to cop it. So I had to do that, and it was a very memorable month on the channel. I will say that right now. I'd check my phone, and there'd be all these comments going, Troy Wilson, you're shit. What are you talking about? James Christou waiting for the apology. So it was a fun month, I think, to be a born again Collingwood believer. I also said that Sydney wouldn't win a final. And I said this pretty much right at the start of their 9-game win streak. You couldn't have picked it
A worse time.
a worse time to make that call.
Yeah.
But they looked shit. They had a month there where they were no good.
Yeah.
They lost to the Suns.
Well, they charged home with a soft draw. We could probably say.
They did.
So
They
they got the wins on the bank. They looked really good, and they were good during the finals, just not the last day.
Yeah.
They shit the bed.
Arguably, they weren't really that good in the prelim.
No. That
Just
was
scraped over the line.
almost a big choke job, but yeah.
Yeah. So they're probably some of my worst. I would say my best. I had Melbourne finishing 5th. And you boys absolutely gave it to me in that video and realistically for the first 10 weeks because Melbourne were flying. But you all had Melbourne winning the flag, or finishing first, I should say, sorry.
Yeah.
I had Melbourne finishing 5th. They went out in straight sets. What do you want to do?
Yeah. This is where did Melbourne finish on the ladder though?
Once you've looked at the finals,
Where did Melbourne finish on the ladder?
once you look at the finals, if you look back at the ladder and you look back on reflection of the 2022 AFL season,
That's not what you were going for.
Yeah.
That's not what you were
They
going
were-
for.
You were not going for
They
after the
were-
final series.
We're not letting you off on a
they were the
technicality.
5th best team. They were the 5th best team this year, fellas.
Technically, regular season they were 4th best. Did they finish 4th?
They finished second.
Second.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah.
5th best team. 5th best team. I
Let
didn't
us
have
know.
that many other good
No,
calls.
I think this one needs to go to the viewers. I think they need to decide whether this is a correct decision or not. I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
I'm not publicly apologising for that.
You don't.
I'm just saying that.
I don't think you need to make a public apology for it. But I'm just, I'm not.
We just need some clarification from the viewers, I think.
I mean, you've been quite harsh on me when it comes to this sort of stuff.
Yeah, we have. Maybe too harsh at times. I think.
Yeah. I got a bit of love in the comments a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good to know. Good to know they're sticking up for you.
Yeah.
Which is always nice.
Yeah, that's good.
Especially if you don't get it from your colleagues.
Tazza, you go. I got to plug a cord in over here. You run with your best and worst.
Also, James Timberlake is here.
You're kidding me.
Very early morning.
No
for him.
way.
He's here.
JT.
He has
JT's
How
in
are
the
you,
house.
mate?
He's just tuned in. Very early morning for him. But a massive appreciation.
I
for
love
tuning in,
that.
my guy. That's
JT,
excellent.
James Timberlake, we love you, mate. That is, we don't.
What an effort.
We don't have favourites. We don't have favourites here on
No.
the channel, but you are one of the favourites.
When
mate.
you're putting in effort like that, it's hard not to call you a favourite. So, thanks, mate. We appreciate it.
Love it.
Excellent.
All right, my predictions were a little bit. So my best and worst all come from pre-season. So maybe I was just a little bit flat. Maybe I don't know what I did during the season. Maybe, but look, mine all come from the pre-season, and I'll start with my worst because they come back to my boys, Port Adelaide.
Oh yeah, you're a sucker for your boys, aren't you?
Yeah, I know, and I just
The teal coloured glasses.
Yeah, definitely. Next season, definitely not going to be. Next season's going to be a different year for me. Look, Mitch Georgiades for 50 plus goals
What a stinker!
over the season. I think how many blokes kicked 50 goals this year? There would have been half a dozen.
There was a lot. It was almost
8
10.
maybe. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
But Mitch Georgiades didn't even get halfway. He kicked 23.
You got outgunned by Toddy.
Yeah. Oh, hand on heart, I said another one of our calls in pre-season was the under the pump.
Yes.
I had Todd Marshall as the under the pump, and boy did he deliver.
Oh yeah.
He didn't quite kick 50. I think he was about 40. I'm going to say high 40s.
Yeah.
He was almost there. But wow, what a way to deliver. That was under the pump, and he's just taken that forward line, obviously. Port didn't do that great, but huge year from Todd.
Did you say at one point that you were going to get Toddy Marshall's number on your jumper, or was that related to something else?
It was. I think it was related to if he met a stat. Maybe if he kicked 50. I don't know. If it was Todd Marshall instead of Georgiades, we'll have to dig through the archives for that one.
Yeah.
But I'm not too sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Either way, Georgiades.
I'm very close to getting Toddy on the back, but look, if he can back it up next season, maybe I get his. I think what's his number 18.
How about this? Toddy Marshall, if he makes the All Australian squad of 40
Next year.
yeah, would you get it?
Yeah, absolutely. Because that means he's right. He basically got to be kicking 50 to get a sniff.
Yeah.
Even in the 40. I mean, I think Taylor Walker got in the 40 and he kicked about 50.
I'm still
Didn't
not sure
get in
how
the
that
team.
happened.
I mean, he polled 13 Brownlow votes, so he obviously he's doing something right.
Might have asked Tom Browne. He might have some insight.
Yes.
Yeah, he would know.
Yeah.
He's the man in the know, so yeah. Look, I'm going to go to my best. Some might say it's not huge smoky, but we're going back to my pre-season smoky. Isaac Heaney as an All-Australian.
You're on the money.
I was on the money. Correct. Correcto mundo.
It was a little
Killed
lighter.
It was a little bit lighter.
This was pre-Nando
It was.
scale.
Yeah, it was.
So
This would have been. I reckon this would have been pushing lemon and herb. To be
this is
honest.
mild. It's mild. I think.
It's mild. Come on.
It's yeah, okay, yeah, maybe.
I mean, lemon herb is it's a guarantee. You know, It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that the Isaac Heaney breakout we've been waiting for, we got.
Yeah.
Was it 40 plus? Did he kick 40 plus this year?
He would have kicked a few.
If not, it was very close. Yeah.
He had a very big year.
Mhm.
So, no, it's a good call. I mean, when you look at our, smoky All Australians,
Oh, jeez.
I mean,
How was that not in the worst?
you and BT had Junior Rioli,
Ooh.
which for the first month he was looking good. He actually was looking really good, even though the Eagles were absolutely shit house.
Yeah.
But mine was even worse. Taron Thomas.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Taron Thomas for an All Australian smoky. R Dizzle, Cobloaf Records, another one of our regulars in the comments. Big North Melbourne fan. He's been up and about Taron Thomas for a long time. and that one certainly did not pay off.
Yeah, I mean, he was dropped a few times. I think there was some questions about his willingness to play, really.
Yeah.
So it was hard. Yeah.
Will be interesting. We don't know if Clarko is going to coach, but if he does and Thomas is still there, could he get the best out of him? You'd certainly want to hope so. Yeah. So there's some of our individual calls that were pretty stinky or pretty good. As a group, though, because we are a team, we do like to hang shit on each other and pull the piss and let each other know what we've stuffed up. But as a group, we made some calls about where we thought teams were going to sit, who was going to play well, who wasn't going to play well. We had some good calls. We had some stinkers. Let's start with the positives because, there was a few. And Freo, we nailed Freo this year.
We did.
We had Freo as a real easy riser into the top 8. Didn't have them finishing top 4, and they just missed the top 4. But we thought they were good enough to probably win a final. We had them sitting in 5th. They finished 6th. Good signs for Freo going ahead. If you're a Freo fan, you're pretty optimistic right now. Tom Browne, he would have had something to say about Luke Jackson, I'm assuming. So it's good signs.
He did. Yeah, he had a bit to say. Yeah.
I figured. So Freo, you got to be happy with that. Carlton, though, we were pretty good about Carlton as well. Didn't have them in the top 8.
Had it missing the 8,
Yeah.
which they did.
Just.
Right at the end. What do we have them? Where are we? 11th?
We had them 11th,
Yeah,
which is probably a bit low.
A little bit low. Yeah, 9th in the end, but we still said missing the finals. So
We'll take a win.
we'll take a minor win.
Yeah. We did have Sydney as well. We had them finishing 5th and probably a good top 4 chance.
Yep.
So we saw the potential there, I think. So not a bad call. And BT would be happy about this, and that's St Kilda. We nailed St Kilda. Now, we had St Kilda probably a little bit low, but really for the reasons that they didn't make the top 8.
Yeah.
And that was that their list is...
It's B grade.
It's vanilla.
Across the list, there's just not enough game winners.
Yeah.
We spoke about Jack Steele earlier, and I mean, you got Max King. That's it.
Yeah.
Find me another one. They really aren't.
And Max King really couldn't kick straight. Jack Sinclair had a breakout year. So they got to be happy with that. But just a real average list. And they've got some big questions to answer this off-season, St Kilda, in which direction they go. As an Eagles supporter, I've just seen what's happened to a team which has tried to push again and go again and not invest in the young talent and acknowledge where they're at. I think St Kilda just needs to acknowledge that their list right now, they aren't winning a flag with the way it is right now in the next 2 or 3 years. They've just got to blow it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I agree.
So, and if there are St Kilda fans in the chat, let us know. Are we on the money here, or are we just, again, are we now disciples to BT's anti-St Kilda crusade? And have we just been believing the absolute dribble from BT's mouth about the Saints for too long? Let us know. But as for some of our shit calls and our really bad calls, Collingwood's an obvious one.
But to be fair, I don't think this wouldn't have been just our worst call.
No.
This would have been a prediction from a lot of other...
95% of people out there, I think, have them finishing around the same spot. I think, what did we have them finishing? 16? Yeah.
Certainly not making the 8. And I don't think anyone saw Collingwood making the 8 this year. So,
no. Especially with a rookie senior coach.
Yes.
And the list, I don't think anyone really saw anything jumping out of them. So,
no.
Yeah.
So, terrible call by us, but we went alone. Probably the 2 big ones, Port Adelaide, GWS. We picked the 2 biggest sliders of the year to finish top 4, and they just stunk it up. Do you want to talk about your boys, Port Adelaide?
Look, 0-5 start. No one recovers from 0-5 starts apart from Sydney, I think a little while ago.
0-6.
Yeah. So, look, we were missing a few key players, and we saw what Charlie Dixon did once he come back. We kind of got it almost to an even ledger, and we were starting to bring it back, but I think the confidence was shot by that point. It's just too hard to bring yourself back.
Ken going again.
Yes. Josh Carr in.
You reckon that's the succession?
100% that is the succession plan. It's grand final. It's flag or bust, basically, for him.
It was flag or bust this year.
I hazard a guess that possibly Port didn't want to pay him out. I think it's a money thing.
Yeah. So he's got 1 year to go. Is that right?
He's got 1 year to go.
Okay.
So I think the succession plan is well. The wheels are in motion. To sound like Tom Browne, I guess from before, the wheels are in motion. And I think, Josh Carr, Port Adelaide coach 2024.
That's a good sniff. Let's get our man onto that. See if he can figure something out next time he gets on the podcast.
Yep.
And of course, Geelong. We were dead wrong about Geelong.
Oh, yeah. Again, same thing. I think a few people would have had it.
Yep.
You know, everyone said too old, too slow,
Too good.
too good.
And I think we got chirped today. I think it was actually there was someone that jumped on our season preview for the Geelong video today and said this aged well. So
Very well.
a good shout.
No doubt a Cats fan.
Oh, I've got to be a Cats
yeah.
fan. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to be.
He would have as soon as they won the grand final, he would have googled every single Geelong pre-season prediction video from this season.
Yep.
And would he be in the comments?
I'd love to see that person in the comments as well. I'm not sure what the name
Please.
is, but I'd love to see that. And we were
You know who you are.
Yeah, you do know who you are. But we were dead wrong. We were absolutely dead wrong about the Cats, and they were terrific and deserving premiers. So there you go. Some terrible calls by us. If you are in the comments or the chat right now, and you can remember something that we've said that just has stuck in your brain that was absolute shit, absolute dribble, let us know, because I'd love to hear it. I'd love to think back and go, did we say that? Did we really
Probably
say that?
did. I mean, there's been some crap.
There's been
There's been some crap. So look,
while they go fishing
Remind
through the
us.
data bank of that,
Yeah.
Lens
Have we got some?
This is not of ours. This is of the listeners.
Yes.
Yeah, Lenz. He predicted Port Adelaide to finish 11th. Although
He nailed it.
Screenshots, please.
Yeah,
Or it didn't
might have to
happen.
be looking for some
I want to say some proof there.
Timestamp it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
you
timestamps.
know, we're not just
Very
taking,
important.
Oh, I said this. We need some.
Yeah.
We need some written proof. And likewise, to a degree, Sportsnut. He had 4th on finishing 13th. And that was his only correct one for the year.
As a Hawk supporter as well.
Yeah,
So I like that.
Yeah, that's a good call. I mean, that's not a crazy call, but it's definitely for picking the exact position. You've done well.
Yeah.
Definitely done well.
Yeah. And it would be remiss of us before we move on from the bold prediction sequence, Steve, to not shout out our patron saint, the man himself, the GOAT, Sean Davies.
Yes. Oh, Shawnee Davies.
Who was in the comments. He's in the comments right now, isn't he? I think you mentioned his name earlier.
He was here. Not sure if he's still here with us at the moment, but he was here.
He remains, I think, the only person to absolutely bang on the head, nail a bold prediction as a bold prediction.
As a Bob, I think we may need. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but we did get a correct prediction in the grand final.
What was that?
It was Chad Warner for 2 goals and 20 possessions. I have seen it. I was looking through yesterday.
Yes.
I can't remember. It must have been on the grand final preview.
BT is in the comments right now.
He's on.
Yes.
He's got to be onto that.
Get on
Yes.
that, BT.
Yeah.
But I have seen 2 goals and 20 disposals, and he shattered that. So
I love that.
that's a great call.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think Sean Davies described himself, instead of being the GOAT, as something like a blind squirrel or something like that.
Yes.
It's a great analogy.
Yeah. And I love that. So nice work. Thanks to everybody as well who is getting onto those videos for the bold predictions. They are one of our favourite to make.
Yeah.
And you've run it beautifully, Steve, and you've done it beautifully.
Well done, mate.
Cheers.
And really turned it into something. So, but thanks to you guys for getting involved, because that's what makes it fun.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting involved, Q&A time. Last segment of the show, Q&A. If you have any questions that you want to ask us, preferably AFL related, but we'll take whatever you've got.
Yeah.
It's not too personal.
Yeah, not too personal. Just let's keep it sports related. But we've got a few questions that we'll get the ball rolling with, and if you've got anything, then chime in, and Steve will feed them through to us. Question for you, Tazza. Zach Tui, we mentioned a bit earlier on, 250 games. He's now won a premiership. Aside from Jim Steins, because none of us were really old enough to see Jim Steins in his prime, as a Brownlow winner, as the record holder for most consecutive games. That's a great start, 244. So none of us really got to see him play, and I think it'd be fair to say he's the best Irishman to ever play the game, or really the best international player to ever play the game. Zach Tui, is he number 2?
Oh, he's up there. He's got to be right up there. I mean, I'll go back to Taj Kennelly was quite good. Back
He
in the
was.
day. He's got to be right up there.
Premiership player. Taj Kennelly did win a premiership as well
Yeah.
with the Swans.
Yeah.
Similar role. Don't know how many games he played. If you are in the chat, that's a good one.
Yes.
How many games did Taj Kennelly play in the chat? It's probably a good call. I can't think of anyone else really as an Irishman or
No.
international player that has really made a big impact. Piers Hanley wasn't bad.
Serviceable,
Yeah.
but not up there. I
Yeah.
wouldn't have him near the top. But I think capping Tui off his career with the flag now, it's got to put him right up there.
There is like one fly in this room,
Yeah.
and it is just
Little bastard.
it is annoying the piss out of me.
BT's in the comments.
Yes.
Adam Sow on the Norman Smith video was
Adam
Sow.
Adam
Yeah,
Sow.
okay.
The
Yeah.
Norman Smith video correctly guessed the channel.
That is nice
There you
work
go.
from Adam Sow. Shout out to you.
Oh,
mate.
no.
That is good stuff. Chime in whenever you got a question.
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well. You got some?
James is still around.
James Timley's still here.
He's still here.
When do you have to go to work, mate? Like
What is the time over there, actually?
It'll be 6 o'clock, wouldn't it? 6 a.m.
Whereabouts in America is he?
Well, we don't want to get too personally, but
Well, that's true. So this your personally. He just wants to know if we've got any bold predictions for next season, or is it too early to make those calls?
I mean, look, it is too early,
Yeah.
but I mean, what do we want to do? Let's go.
Let's off the bat, just pick a flag winner.
I can't go to Cats.
I'll say Sydney.
I don't think Sydney's,
No,
I don't think Sydney's
no.
going to recover from this.
There's a regression there, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not Collingwood.
Okay.
For anyone who's
Careful
listening.
I'm
sticking to my guns.
Okay. I'm going to give you a team that I don't. Okay, this is a too early call. This is a way too early call, but I'm going to do it, and I think I'm going to regret it. Flag Mantle
Ooh.
2023. Okay. Nah, they'll make the grand final. They're not going to win it. They'll make the grand final next year. I'm not going to give you a premier right now, but Fremantle, I think, will make the grand final in 2023. That's my bold prediction for you.
I've got, I'll go. I'm not sure if they're going to win it as well, but I think Carlton.
Carlton for top 4, I think, is
Carlton
not a
will-
lock, but that's a good bet.
Yeah, and I think they'll be right near the pointy end. I think they can make the grand final. Injuries need to go the right way.
Steve?
And they've got to be able to see out a game.
Yes.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
That's the reason why they weren't in the eight this season.
That's right.
Yeah,
Last
no,
two
good
games.
point.
But no, I'll stick with Sydney as an early call. I think within the next 3 years they'll win one.
I don't disagree with that. I just don't think they'll get back next year.
Yeah.
No.
I feel like it's really tough for the team to go back to back in a final.
I think.
Granny,
Particularly if they've lost like that.
yeah.
But I think Geelong is not. They're certainly a good chance. And I just said earlier in this video, I'm not writing off Geelong ever again. I'd like to see the list changes for Geelong before I
Yeah.
go big on them.
Yeah.
It's a big dynamic change there. And they're probably going to bring in a couple of youngsters as well. I've seen Ollie Henry and Tanner Browne.
Yep.
Possibly linked. So,
They just keep finding good young players
yeah.
and not paying a lot for them. It's unbelievable.
But just James JT, he likes Carlton in the top 4 next year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's BT thinks Richmond.
Richmond?
Yes.
I don't mind the call either, BT.
They are going big. They're going big now. They want the two GWS boys, Taranto and Hopper.
Yeah.
And they're
If they can
holding
get them.
Dusty as well. Is he? He's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
retiring, is he?
No, he's going around.
Yep.
So, yeah, no, good
Not
call.
bad.
I like that.
They might
Yeah.
be back.
That is a good call.
So we're going with a Geelong, Fremantle, Carlton, Richmond top 4.
Yeah.
Do you want to go with that right now?
Sure. Suppose. Let's
Bold
do it.
prediction.
Clip it.
Yeah, yeah.
Bold prediction right now. Done. Sydney not getting in the top 4.
Okay. I mean,
They'll win it from outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
They'll go on a
Yep.
run.
Yeah,
They'll go on a
that's,
run.
that's fair.
Okay.
From outside, that's okay.
Done. I like that. Nice bold prediction. Had a couple more for you. Grand final. Back to the daytime this year. I know it was a shit game, so it kind of takes a bit of the shine off it. But Steve, your thoughts? Daytime, nighttime.
I mean, I don't mind it either, to be honest. Like, Melbourne make a day of it anyway.
Yeah.
Being what time it starts is like 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
It's 2:30 over
2:30
there. Yeah.
And then they have all of the pre-game, stuff that they do. If they were to change it to a night time, what else are they going to do?
You're just getting on the beers all day.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. A game under lights is always fun. I love playing sport under lights.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just gives it a better atmosphere, I feel. I'm a fan. I mean, it doesn't have to be every year. Maybe they can rotate it, I suppose, or whatnot. But I know they weren't happy. Well, it was technically a nighttime game, I suppose, for Melbourne last year, given the fact that what time it was over here, and I know a lot of them weren't happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it started like 7 o'clock over their time or something like that.
It was prime time.
Yeah,
prime time Eastern States viewing.
Yeah. So maybe it's a nighttime game over here is too late. Maybe for Melbourne supporters for Melbourne-based people, it's too late for them for a nighttime game. But I wouldn't mind seeing a few here and there. Just rotate it,
Maybe rotate the venue. Maybe.
That'd be
I
nice.
don't know, just maybe throw that out.
I mean, you've got
controversial. I don't know.
Well, the grand final's been at 3 different venues now. Obviously, not by choice.
Yeah.
Let's go out and say that. If they didn't have to, they'd never change it from the MCG.
Yeah, that's right. Contract is there until 2050 something.
Yeah, which will get extended next year, no doubt, for another 150 years. But I mean, it'd be good to see it spread around. But like, you get 100,000 at the G. Your next biggest would be Optus. Is that right?
I don't think so actually. I think the ANZ Stadium, but they don't really use that in Sydney anymore. But then it would be Optus.
And then Adelaide.
Yeah,
like,
close. Yeah.
And the AFL's never going to do that because they're losing money. What can you get on to 65, 68?
60 flat.
60 flat. So you're losing 40,000 tickets there if it wasn't played at the G that year. I think Gabba currently holds 30 odd.
Gabba 40 maybe there's some Queenslanders in the chat. Let us know.
Yeah. So again, you're losing more money that way. The AFL would never do it because they've run off the money basically. But to rotate it. Maybe not rotate it, but play it at a neutral venue. If you've got, which might be hard to do. I can
predetermined venue, you're saying?
Yeah. Well, you can predetermine. Yeah, actually, it's probably a better way to do it. Predetermine it. So, next year's at Optus. And if you've got a Victorian team and a Queensland team, whatever, it's played at Optus.
It is what it is.
And if a West Australian makes it, it is what it is.
I'd love to know if there's any Victorian viewers in the chat, what their thoughts are of the whole grand final venue debate. What did you make of the grand final in Perth last year and the Gabba the year before? Like, were you a fan of it? I'd be interested to know because we obviously don't have that perspective. We're West Australian based, in case you didn't know. So it's interesting. It's always interesting to get a different perspective from a band that's not based where you are. So similar to James Timberlake, we're having a chat with James on one of the videos the other day about what the coverage was like for AFL in the States.
In the States, yeah.
And how difficult it is for him to get access to watch the videos. And I feel like there was actually a story recently about that, and they cut off the prelim, I think, like with a minute to go. Yes. Yeah.
Obviously, that was the most tense time of the game. And just, catch you later.
Yeah.
Out. Yeah, and that's rough. How do you grow the game when you've got things like that happening? Yeah. People are just going to become disillusioned with the game and really not want to tune in if they're not guaranteed that it's not cheap. That's the thing.
No,
it's not free. You got to pay for this kind of stuff. So, it's tough.
Yeah. Interested to know your thoughts on that. Let us know if anything comes through.
Yeah, mate. Well, Lenz is on it already.
Yes,
he's on the ball. He reckons it felt more like a granny this year.
That's fair.
Being back at the G
during
the day.
Yeah, it's traditional.
He's during the day.
Yeah.
He's a during the day kind of guy. James Timberlake thinks the silliest venue choice this year was Geelong at home. Let me start that again. Geelong against Collingwood at the G.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I spoke about it in terms of Geelong and their home finals.
Well,
they don't get it.
Hang on. That week, I think I was absolutely victimised on this channel because I said that Collingwood was the home team. And I said that the away teams were all going to win, which they all did.
Here we go.
Except for Brisbane, of course. But anyway, just saying. That's all.
Out. He always tries to get him on a technical.
Not this again.
Doesn't no.
I'll leave it.
Absolutely
It's all good.
Absolutely doesn't count. But hey, I mean, it didn't matter for Geelong this year because they won them, so
Got it done.
you know.
Very good. All right. Well, if that is it for questions, I don't know if we've got any others.
No, not at the moment.
No one's interested. That's all good. I figure before we wrap, we probably may as well touch on what is next for Stat Chat Sports.
Yep.
Because obviously footy has been our bread and butter. Footy season just about done and dusted, but there is a little bit of footy stuff we've still got to cover. Obviously, we've got the connections now. Our man Tom Browne.
We do.
Certainly to feature, I think, over the coming months as we get into trade period and the draft as well. So a bit to cover there.
You might get to see him this time. Maybe.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
To be honest, I was a bit disappointed. To be honest. So
timing. Terrible timing.
Timing is everything in this industry.
It is.
So hopefully we get that done. But you want to talk to us a bit about the EPL and all the soccer stuff we've got coming up?
Yeah. Tazza and I cover the EPL on a weekly basis as well. So if it's your sport of choice, even if it's not, really.
Tune in.
Support the channel.
Good hosts.
Yeah, decent hosts, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, we do basically what we do on the AFL ones. We take a team from the week as a hit miss. Currently hold fire, but we'll see how long that lasts. It gets tougher and tougher every week, as we know. We stopped it here as well. And a game of the week for the following week. And instead of a bold prediction, we look at some unpopular opinions.
I like it.
That are thrown around. There's plenty of them that get thrown around in football. So if you've got one, put it in the comments, and Taz and I will go through it, because at the moment we just sort of spit our own to each other, which is good. It's fine. It still creates a discussion. So, but if it wants to be featured, then that's basically what we're doing. So
doesn't matter how unpopular. If it's an opinion, it's about football. Air it out, and we'll touch on it.
Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. You know? just like as go as bold as you like, go as ridiculous as you like, I suppose, in an opinion as well. You know, if you think Andy Carroll was the greatest footballer of all time, throw it out there.
Tell us that. We might not agree, but we'll talk about it.
It wouldn't be a healthy debate, though.
Not many people. It'd be a short debate.
Yes.
But it's a debate nonetheless.
Yeah, I like it. Very good. Bit more soccer content as well, starting this week. Now, this has been promised for a long time.
Yeah, it has.
And I know Lenza actually has been asking for this, because we teased this in
It's
June.
funny you say that. He's quite literally just asked about the FIFA series, and will it be out in the off-season?
The FIFA series will be out. So, two things, Lenza, because I know you've been asking. One, BT is in the comments right now. He will confirm this, but he has floated FIFA live stream this week. The game comes out this week. BT is going to the cash reserves. He's going to get the game. Pretty sure he's going to be doing a live stream of FIFA. So keep an eye out for that one. We also have been working on a FIFA series for quite some time. There's been a few technical difficulties. There's been a few hits and misses.
Say that, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think we've got the format down pat, though.
We've discovered the formula that works. Yeah.
Yeah.
We just need to throw in a bit of FIFA 23 and we're good to go.
Yeah. So new game out this week. Expect to see plenty of FIFA content on this channel. The FIFA wheel is what we're calling it.
Yes.
The FIFA wheel. So a little bit of a teaser on that front.
The Wheel of Doom. As I like to call it.
The FIFA Wheel of Doom. So keep an eye out for that one. That's going to be a new series coming out. The Stat Chat Week, the podcast. Did this a little bit in the early days of Stat Chat. I think we're going to be bringing it back over the summer period. So stay tuned. We'll work out the date. We'll work out the time. We'll work out the format. We've got some ideas. But certainly something that we're going to be wanting to be pursuing, Tazza.
Yep. Yeah, the Stat Chat, Chit Chat, as we called it back in the day.
The chit
it's
chat.
it's something that we like to do, and just we can throw out whatever we want to talk about, whatever you guys want to talk about. If there's something you want us to cover and have a yarn about, we can do it. But yeah, it encompasses probably a little bit more than targeting a couple of sports. So yeah, we'll talk about it a fair bit.
Quite general. NFL fans as well. EPL, F1, big F1 fans, and that's starting to ramp up to a bit of a conclusion as well. So.
Yeah. Cobb Loaf is in the comments at the minute. Test
Dizzle.
cricket. Dizzle. He wants to know Test cricket. I'm not a cricket fan, but I know you boys are, so that'll be covered in the chit chat.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, BT's a big cricket fan,
And
so
BT's well, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. No, so cricket certainly will get a run. Shout out to our Dizzle as well. Big music guy, and I've been talking with our Dizzle as well. He might be getting us a bit of a theme, bit of theme music, a bit of intro music.
Dizzle.
I
I don't put the pressure on because he was trying to push me back a little bit with the time frame, but he's working on it. So
if he wants to be an employee, he's got a time schedule to sit by. So
we don't pay wages.
No, we don't. We definitely don't.
But yeah, look, that's probably going to wrap it up, fellas. I think this has been a success.
Yeah,
I've loved it.
I think this has gone well. Yeah. Obviously, BT not with us, but he's in the chat. We appreciate you, mate. We know you wanted to be here today, but you will be here for the next one. Big thank you to everybody that's watching this live. I'm guessing that most of the people that are watching this live have watched us at some point throughout the year, are subscribers to the channel. We really appreciate you guys. We had little to no expectations at the start of the year coming into this. We just thought, this would be a bit of fun. Let's do it. We like to talk sports. Why don't we share it out on the internet?
If anything, it was more just an opportunity for us to yarn together and just have a good chit chat, as we mentioned before. And I mean, we're really appreciative of everyone jumping on board and tuning in, week out. So it's been great.
No, it's been terrific.
It has been good. It's been good fun, and to finally do one in person, it's been good fun. Yeah, you know, a little bit difficult to do, but we work around it. Yeah, and any time we can do it again, we'll absolutely be doing it again.
Absolutely. Yep. And it is mostly my logistics that is the reason that we don't do this live and in person every week. So if I get that sorted out, then I think we will do it. But
well, we've proved we can do it with 3 out of the 4. So
you might be turfing me out. Is what you're
saying? No. I'm sure you can join in on the Zoom call. Yeah. Which unfortunately BT couldn't do, but I'm sure you'll still be there.
I will find a hill with good internet connection, and I will sit in on the call. There have been major internet issues on my end the last couple of weeks, but we'll get that sorted. But regardless of that, big thank you to everybody watching this, whether you're live, whether you're watching this after the fact. We appreciate you guys. We will be back certainly for the next AFL season, but like we've said, plenty of sports content is going to be coming out each and every week, and we can't wait to share it with you. Alrighty, on that note, that'll be it, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys. Cheers. Now I've got to figure out how to turn off the bloody live stream.
Go back to YouTube.
Stop streaming.